looks good. Can I pay with a card?
Who the hell is this? It's the person who stole your identity. Every day I'm hustling.
Sandy Bigelow. Patterson.
She's like a hobbit. Going after Bilbo.
You don't chase criminals.
Gotcha. I can't let this woman out of my sight.
Challenge him physically.
We got us a live one.
Identity Thief, rated R.
Oh my god, bad memories, please get this fucking movie out of my sight. Oh yeah, it's one of those bad movies. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. We don't have an intro this week, mostly because I couldn't think of really a bit intro to do here, but we're looking at the 4 movies of February 8th, 2013, and let's just go ahead and just dig through this one, because my god, this movie is awful. Identity Thief, starring Jason Bateman and Melissa McCarthy. This is notable for Melissa McCarthy being her first real movie after her success with Bridesmaids a couple years ago. And this was supposed to be the launching of her post-Bridesmaids career as a leading comedic actress. And boy, that success, there was success, but my god, these movies that she starred in were terrible. And this is probably it's sad to say that this is probably the one that's the least bad, but it's still pretty bad. But it's the story of Sandy Peterson, a man whose identity is stolen by a female con artist. Sandy's played by Jason Bateman, and the con artist is played by McCarthy. After the police tell him that it will take up a year to solve the case, Sandy decides to go across country to find her, and clear his name. So, it's one of these lame brain action comedies, and this is the literal definition of a lame brain comedy, because my god, this movie is fucking awful. This is very high up there with the worst movies I saw that year. I mean, this is that bad of a movie. And yet, people bought into it. People were suckered in because it's directed by the same guy that did Horrible Bosses, Seth Gordon, but it's also written by the guy who did the Hangover movies, which, I mean, the first one was good. Everything else, nope. Garbage. Straight up garbage, like this movie here. Everybody in this movie is a fucking idiot, because they take the simplest situations, and instead of just doing the right thing about it and just going on their way, they do something incredibly stupid. It's not just a one-time decision, it's like this all throughout the movie. This whole movie is it's a litmus test of how much your patience will be tested, because you want to not only smack Melissa McCarthy, you want to punch the shit out of Jason Bateman, because he's the one that's provoking this whole thing. Just do what they're telling you to do and just wait. No, I can't do that because I gotta go and do this thing because we wouldn't have a movie if we did it. Just like, it's not funny. Nothing about this movie is funny. The jokes are terrible. They waste some good comedic talent all across the board here. And it has one of the biggest fuck you endings I've ever seen in my life. This is bordering on Bounty Hunter levels of bad in terms of the ending of this movie. That's how terrible this movie is. An absolute abysmal mess of a film. One of Melissa McCarthy's 2 big misfires of the year, because, yeah, the other one was much more successful for a lot of people, but that movie ain't any better. Sorry, but I think you know which one I'm talking about here. But if you're not, stay tuned to the end of the summer for that. But yeah, not much more to say about this one. Identity Thief is a steaming pile of garbage. It's not funny. It wastes all this good talent. And it's just a mess of a movie that idiots bought into it and went on to become a massive hit. Meanwhile, there was a good movie that came out this weekend that nobody wanted to go see because, heaven forbid, we put the money that we put into Identity Thief into a really good movie like Steven Soderbergh's latest film, Side Effects.
I love everything about him. He swept me off my feet.
I can get us back to where we were, Anne. Promise.
You remember this beautiful lady here?
She looks amazing.
She's doing well.
How things been going with you?
I can finally sleep. I have some energy. We had sex.
Whoever makes this truck is going to be rich.
911, what's your emergency?
Someone's been murdered.
What do we do?
Where's her lawyer?
She doesn't have one. Just kept talking about you.
Would you have treated her differently if she was a man?
That's not what happened.
Anne, what is going on?
I don't think you should be my doctor anymore.
Someone gets punished.
I had no idea this was going on.
He been lying to her, and he was lying to me. I would never be here if it weren't for you.
I want my life back!
You know I'm not crazy. Everyone knows everything.
Anne, are you awake?
Destroy that before it destroys you.
Side Effects, February 8th.
But no, instead of seeing a smart, savvy movie like this, no, let's put the money into the garbage that we just talked about here. But This is a really good movie. This is one of my favorite movies of the year, easily. You have Emily, played by Rooney Mara, and Martin, played by Channing Tatum, who are a successful New York couple whose world unravels when a new drug prescribed by Emily's psychiatrist, played by Jude Law, intended to treat anxiety, has unexpected side effects. Now, at the time, this was kind of a big deal because this was supposed to be Steven Soderbergh's last theatrical film, and his last film was going to be the Liberace movie Beyond the Candelabra that came out the following year. But of course, he hasn't done that. He's gone on to direct many other movies, some good ones, especially one that came out this year, Black Bag, which I highly recommend checking out. But, you know, with a director who's managed to tap into so many different genres over the course of his career, it was weird to think that his theatrical directing career was going to end with a real downer of a film. I'm not even kidding, man. This was probably the most depressing movie I've seen in a very long time. I mean, I saw both United 93 and World Trade Center, and this movie was just like, oh my God, man, lighten the fuck up. But, again, with all that said, this is still one of the best movies of the year, easily. The performances are great. Rooney Mara is really good in this movie. She gives a very convincing performance, maybe even more so than Elizabeth Salander in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I thought Jude Law was really good in here, playing the doctor in here. Catherine Zeta-Jones is very good, playing her former doctor. And the biggest surprise being that Channing Tatum, you know, he's only in here for a little bit, and yet he once again proves that he's still got the acting chops overall. He's got a bright future ahead of him, and sure enough, that would show up in other movies. The dark feel of the story works really well, too, and it's definitely present in every scene of the film, even in some of the lighter flashbacks. You can just feel a dark presence in the background, and I love the way the film does that. Like, even when the happy moments are there, there's just that sense of an aura of something that's about to be fucked up with these two, and, you know, I give the movie credit for not going on a happy note like other movies of this type do. Like, this is one of those movies that doesn't play it safe. It gives you the cold, hard truth of reality in general. And, I mean, I'll be honest, the first half didn't really click with me at first, but first half just kind of felt like scenes that were clipped together without any real connection to the other. And, you know, I got lost for a little bit, but then the plot comes in. You know, one character gets killed off, and all of a sudden, all of these problems I had with the first film quickly went away. And if there's any other thing I'll give the movie a flack for, it's that it felt a little too long for its own good. There's a point when you think it's going to come to an end, but then it's just like, okay, now here's the next part of the story. It's just like, you're about to wrap it up, it looked like, but, I mean, despite everything I say, this is still a really, really damn good movie. This is still one of the best movies I've seen this year. The actors are great in here. The twist ending I thought was actually pretty impressive overall, too. Like, I liked the twist that it took. Like, that dark feel really helps this film overall. It doesn't sugarcoat the story and shows you the really twisted things that could happen with some people like this, especially with the things that they're going through here. I mean, if Steven Soderbergh was going to wrap his career up with a movie like this, I would have been more than okay with it, because he made a fantastic fucking film. But yeah, this is still one of the best movies of the year. Can't recommend this one enough. Side Effects. So, with all of that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Top Gun in 3D. I don't know why I do that. I just think that's fun.
Today, Top Gun is in IMAX. For 6 days only.
Finally.
And own it forever on Blu-ray 3D February 19th.
So this was something that they brought back into theaters for literally 1 week, as they said in the commercial, where you got to see this movie in theaters, but you also got to get a chance to own it on 3D Blu-ray forever, which, yeah, Blu-ray 3D unfortunately did not last very long. It's that following week, but I'm going to delve more into this when we get to this particular weekend. I'm talking about the movie's flashback, but I'll just say this. The original Top Gun's not that great of a movie. I mean, yeah, it's got one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. That soundtrack has more of a legacy to it than the movie does, but I'll give it this. It has its place in history. It's not a bad movie, but for this grand cinematic masterpiece that I think people give it credit for, it's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's a movie where it is specifically 80s. It specifically is a film that you could just tell is very much a Tom Cruise vehicle for the 1980s overall. It was the film that catapulted him to superstardom and all, but it isn't that great of a movie overall. I do think Top Gun Maverick is a better film, and even then, when I saw Top Gun Maverick, I liked it a lot back then, but I've kind of gone down with it overall. Like, I don't think it's as strong as it was when I first saw it, but it's still better than Top Gun, the original Top Gun. But Top Gun is a fun movie overall, mostly because of the flying scenes, the action, the cinematography, the music. I mean, that's the stuff you really come back to with that movie. And this probably would have been cool to see in 3D on the big screen, but I don't know. That's just my personal take on it. Not much more to say about that one. Like I said, I'm going to delve more into it once we get to this particular weekend in 1986 on Time About the Movies Flashbacks, which should be within the year or so. So let's go ahead and move on to our last film, which is a historic film because it's the first official release from A24. And if you know their movies, you know that they are known for making movies that are very bizarre and sometimes very fucked up. And I think their first film perfectly sums up what the studio would eventually become going forward, and that is A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III.
You're nuts.
I know I am. I've been dreaming about you my whole life.
Heard about the Battle of the Sexes. This is it.
So there's hope for me? There's always hope.
You got any whiskey? All right, this gonna hurt.
So a couple of notable things about this particular movie, and the fact that it's not only A24's first theatrical release, but it's produced and directed by Roman Coppola, who had made another movie called CQ, and after that he made a lot of movies with Wes Anderson. You know, he worked on a lot of Wes Anderson movies, and this definitely has a Wes Anderson vibe to it, to the point where you have to think that maybe that he saw what Wes Anderson was doing, is just like, well, shit, I can do that too with this movie, because yeah, there's definitely parts of this that feel like a Wes Anderson film. It's not saying it's a great thing, but at least it's something there. But in the 1970s, successful, and also this is Charlie Sheen, his first big theatrical film release after leaving 2.5 Men 2 years prior. So, in the 1970s, successful graphic designer and ladies' man Charles Swan III, played by Charlie Sheen, is dumped by his girlfriend Ivana, played by Catherine Winnick, and it throws his life into a tailspin. He doesn't know whether he loves her, hates her, wants her back, or never wants to see her again. Along with his best friends Kirby, played by Jason Schwartzman, and his manager Saul, played by Bill Murray, Charles starts to suffer from nightmares, fever dreams, and past relationships, and hits rock bottom as he tries to recover from the recent breakup and tries to turn his life around. And needless to say, this movie was a massive flop when it came out. It wasn't a big hit with the critics. It bombed at the box office, only making back $210,000 off of a $12 million budget. But to the movie's credit, though, I'll give it this. It's a ballsy movie, man. And like I said, it's the perfect definition of what the studio A24 stood for a long time. These weird, fucked up movies. Keep in mind, this is the company that put out stuff like Midsommar and also Hereditary, like The Lighthouse. These very unique, odd art house films. And this film kind of feels like it fits right up in that alley overall. And yeah, it's definitely a movie that is very much in A24's style of filmmaking. Now, does that make it a good movie? No. It's a very flawed film from the story department, but from a visual perspective, it is kind of fascinating to watch. But again, we always talk about this. Visuals don't always make the fucking movie. And in this case, yeah, it doesn't make the film overall. I think it makes for a kind of unique experience that you'll look at and go like, well, this isn't really a great movie, but I can't say it's a movie that's terrible. The effort's being put into it with the visuals and the casting overall, but like I said, that's not what makes a movie. We want a good story to tell. We want to get invested with characters that we want to get attached to. And yeah, you don't get that with this movie over here. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just a really odd film that fits right in the studio's repertoire overall. And I mean, it's kind of fascinating to watch for some reasons. But other than that, though, it's more of a curiosity watch overall. For a one-time watch, I think it's worth it. But other than that, though, you're never going to want to watch this again after the first time around. But like I said, I'll give it this. It definitely fits into what you think the studio would do with some of the films they put out. Because, yeah, it's definitely a very bizarre and odd movie, to say the least. A glimpse inside the mind of Charles Swan III. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. And, oh, crap, this weekend's going to suck. It's supposed to be when the good movies are supposed to come out, people, but no, we've got A Good Day to Die Hard, the fifth and final installment of the Die Hard series. It takes it back to its R-rated roots, but is that really a good thing or no? Short answer is no. But we also have the latest Nicholas Sparks film, Safe Haven, which I don't even know who's in it. Actually, it's Josh Duhamel and Juliana Hough. I forgot they were even in this movie. But we have the Weinstein Company trying to create another hoodwink-style hit and failing miserably at it with Escape from Planet Earth, and another fantasy book adaptation trying to follow in this format of the Hunger Games and Harry Potter, and yeah, people didn't buy into this one either. Beautiful Creatures. So, 4 films overall, none of them very good. So, yeah, it's going to be another one of those rocky weeks that we have to get through. So, we'll touch on it next week, so next time around. So, that'll be tomorrow. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.